He's a 23-year-old monk, but he's treated like a rock star. Thousands have gathered since dawn to glimpse him on a rare visit to Ladakh near the Tibetan border. His name is Ogyen Trinley Dorje, but to his followers he's the 17th reincarnation of the Karmapa Lama, the third highest figure in Tibetan Buddhism. That makes him a living Buddha. He was once a prisoner of the Chinese, a little boy used as a pawn in the battle for Tibet. Now some believe he could eventually take over from the Dalai Lama to lead the struggle against China.
He's a very charismatic person. He's the one who has to shoulder a great responsibility. There's no doubt Karmapa Lama will do it, that's for sure. There's no other religious figures or the lamas, who can really replace His Holiness, and he would be the best option, I think.
Many of the Buddhists here are Tibetan refugees. They have borne children and grandchildren in India since fleeing China's invasion. For nearly 50 years, their hopes of returning home have lain with their exiled leader, the Dalai Lama. But at 73, he says it's time to retire.
Since 16-year-old, I carry this responsibility. Difficult circumstances, darkest period of Tibetan history, I took this responsibility. I cannot take responsibility. Now, there should be a limit.
There's now speculation that Karmapa Lama could fill his shoes. While India has granted him political asylum, it's banned him from engaging in politics. His advisors told me he would not be able to discuss Tibet. We asked him anyway. How troubled are you by the recent turmoil in Tibet, and what is your understanding of the current situation?
가수에다 지금 미망기 되게 별안의 유배 미망기 가수 디도로 가려버디 선투야로 지다 초진의 에너지 별의 유배 미망 상으로 지다 농인의 소수의 미리당日雄 제도 지 심슈 마차바 선부 체제 내여봐
Ogyen Trinley holds a unique position in Tibetan Buddhism. As a child in Tibet, he was recognized by the Dalai Lama as the reincarnation of the previous Karmapa Lama. The atheist Chinese government endorsed the choice, even sending a representative to the 7-year-old's coronation. It fitted with China's policy of subduing the province by co-opting its spiritual and political leaders. But 7 years after these pictures were taken, the Karmapa Lama fled to India. There, the Dalai Lama took the 14-year-old under his wing, despite historic rivalry between their sects.
로예 응원기 지 가수에 지 강에 참을로 다대차례야 예자와례야 참을로 지 가수에 지 준대로 지다 아니 지 로정지 리아 교회 자와치리야라
The turmoil inside Tibet has only worsened. This year's riots were some of the biggest since China invaded and provoked another brutal crackdown. Outside Tibet, it cast grave doubt on the Dalai Lama's policy of peaceful engagement with China. Many refugees want a more radical approach. Tibetan Buddhism, of course, preaches non-violence, and yet we have seen some violence in recent times. What is your message to people? How confident are you that the struggle will remain peaceful?
출루디 남의 추억이 생일로디 처음에 이내야 남의 추억이 미기 가수하다지 이모션을 참을로 체제 돼야지 난 나보게 돼야 돼 그러나 하고 싶어요. 별이야 예대베지 부미 망보지 로마 뮤리리아 가수하다지 그도루냐 예주루냐제 딘지기 나로래야 안다지 독 망보 싶지 사이에 인두사 디 균쟁기 안에 가수에 초직내 가수디 출루지기베 가수디 참조 제퇴하러지.
In recent days, the Dalai Lama has himself signalled a major change, saying he's lost hope of negotiating a solution with China.
Things not going well. I cannot pretend it's something okay. No. I have to accept failure. So therefore, it is my responsibility, my moral responsibility, to ask people what to do.
Many young Tibetans want the Karmapa Lama to be given a greater role. Tenzin Dhundup is secretary of the Tibetan Youth Congress in Ladakh.
He has this special dynamic quality, the kind of teaching that he gives, it really touches people's heart, and I think he can do very well.
So you'd like the Dalai Lama to name him as his successor?
I think he will, and he has done the indication already.
Choosing the Karmapa Lama would mean breaking centuries of tradition. Tibetans have always believed that when their leader dies, he's reborn. A search begins to find the reincarnated child who takes over again. But that's what China's been waiting for ever since it invaded. When the Dalai Lama finally dies, China will be able to choose its own reincarnation. A young Tibetan boy it can raise to be a loyal communist. China has already done this with the second highest figure in Tibetan Buddhism, the Panchen Lama. In 1995, it arrested the 6-year-old child who the Dalai Lama recognised as the reincarnation. He hasn't been heard from since. The communists named this boy as the Panchen Lama, raising him in the party line.
Tibetan mangzaso ina so giwele mangzu tenda digwele nyungzam drubni da kunjolo soamela mangi soamela dab 중국 공단단 칼라nye ganga obe amne chone chubulum de samno ti goabe.
By switching overall leadership to the Karmapa Lama, Tibetans abroad could sidestep China's plan to control the succession. But those wanting a smooth transition may be disappointed. From his base in Calcutta, Keshav Pradhan has been covering the politics of Tibet's exiles for 20 years. He predicts chaos.
As long as the Dalai Lama is there, as long as they follow his methods or philosophy, they are fine. But the moment he's gone and there is again a controversy over his reincarnation, the Tibetan community may be in chaos for a very, very long time.
And this is why. The Karmapa Lama heads a different sect, known as the Black Hats. It's subservient to the Dalai Lama's sect known as Galupa or Yellow Hats. Throughout history, the rivalry between them has been so intense, they've even gone to war.
I don't know whether the Dalai Lama sect, that is Gelupa, would accept anybody from the other sect as their leader after so many centuries. Here, three things are involved: politics, religion, and superstition.
To see just how bizarre Tibetan rivalries can get, we travel to the Black Hat headquarters in the Indian province of Sikkim. Rumtek was built as an exact copy of the Karmapa Lama's monastery in Tibet. It's just a short drive from the Tibetan border, so it's a restricted area, and foreigners need permits to come here. But the one foreigner who's not allowed to come here, even to visit his own monastery, is the Karmapa Lama. India has refused all his requests to visit the monastery. Officially, it's to prevent violence. There have been clashes with Buddhists who claim he's not the true Karmapa Lama. Armed soldiers now patrol the monastery in fear of attacks from his rival supporters. Some have even accused the Karmapa Lama of being a Chinese spy. But others suspect China is pressuring India to stop him speaking out.
I don't think India will do anything to annoy China. In the present system of market economy, I don't think any country will like to annoy a big power or a big market like China. I don't think the United States of America will also do anything overtly to help the Tibetans as it used to do in the 70s.
Situations under which the Tibetans...
Just how sensitive it all is became clear during our interview.
So what do you see as the way forward for Tibet after so many years under Chinese occupation and still no real autonomy, no freedom? What is going to happen in the future? What can happen?
That it's difficult to say, actually.
Until now, his reputation has been more as a teacher and poet than as an activist. The Tibetans are at a turning point. When the Dalai Lama dies, they will need a strong, charismatic figurehead to continue the struggle. The Karmapa and those around him may wish for a spiritual role, but his people may compel him to the earthly hell of fighting a superpower.